There's about 38 levels above top secret. The highest is cosmic. That's UFOs, aliens, particleization. No president has ever been cleared to that level. There's only probably about 25 people in the world that know things that are known at that level.
We must guard against the acquisition of unwarranted influence, whether sought or unsought, by the military-industrial complex, so that security and liberty may prosper together.
Confident that with your help, man will be what he was born to be, free and independent.
Hey everyone, and welcome to Shred the Veil. I'm Daniel here with Derek, and I'm very excited to have two guests with us here today, Laura Eisenhower and Drago Reid. I think most of us know who these people are, but just in case, I will do a quick bio on each of them. Laura is a researcher, author, and medical intuitive astrologer, internationally acclaimed speaker. She's presented and worked worldwide. She's the great-granddaughter of President Dwight Eisenhower. She's been in the exopolitics realm. Her specialties are alchemy, metaphysics, astrology, galactic history. She works to free us from the 3D holographic time loop, false archonic systems, military industrial complex, and expose hidden agendas so we can take our power back. And she's been a pioneer in this movement to awaken people and help us all on our ascension path. We just a couple weeks ago we interviewed Neil Gar, and I considered him a pioneer in this movement as well. And I hold you in the same light, Laura. I know that you've done so much for everyone here, and you really were instrumental in helping us get started with Shred the Veil. It was you had Derek on a show with Dan Willis one time talking about our grandfather, and that just seeing that it occurred to me that hey, maybe other people would be interested in learning about our grandfather. So that's when I reached out to Infinite TV. Then it was Conscious Vitality, and just the ball started going from there. And you played a big part of that. And we've had you on our show a couple times so far, so it's great to have you back again. And then we also have Drago Reid, who has a pretty awesome background. He is a level 2 quantum healing hypnosis technique QHHT practitioner. He's a secret space program experiencer, MyLab abductee. He's had a couple of near-death experiences, out-of-body experiences that resulted in some, brain issues that rewired your brain, basically, it sounds like, so that you have some different abilities that are pretty impressive. Advanced IQ, clear cognition, and just this intelligence that allows you to go far into the regression techniques that you do, and you've learned so much and gained so much information, and you are definitely a wealth of knowledge in everything that is the disclosure movement and the awakening process that we're all going through. So we're very honored to have you both on the show. Thank you guys for joining us so much.
It's awesome, man.
And so,
and you guys have a new show combined called The Rebel Collective, correct? That's also something we'll talk about for sure. So I love what you guys have done so far with that too. Definitely what's disclosure's needing right now. So thank you for doing that and starting that.
Yeah, definitely want to talk about that some more. I guess we're going to have kind of like a free flow conversation, but I would like to ask Drago, maybe if you could give a little summary, a little more detail on your background that people might not be as familiar with, and just kind of how you got to this point and on your mission right now with what you're doing.
I guess I would say I'm a lifelong MyLab abductee. Started when my first abduction, I think it was around 6, and I've been in the Monarch MK Ultra program, which has resulted into me getting pulled into Kruger's groups like Nachtwaffen. Basically, it's been a lifetime of struggle, and this led me to healing, wanting to try to figure out how to heal myself because I was having so much pain physically, mentally. I didn't know who to talk to, and then suddenly I come upon the realm of super soldiers, and I deep dive into it. It was Max Spears, the first guy that actually kind of helped solidify and help make real my experiences, because before him, I don't recall many people that were stepping forward talking about this kind of testimony in the world. So it was my deep dive with Max Spears that really threw me into the world and really pulled back that veil of my experiences and let me know there was other people out there like me. So that led me to Dolores Cannon. I wanted to know more about myself, why I was missing memories. And I knew that when I discovered Dolores Cannon, I actually discovered her technique through a hypnotherapist named Alba Weinman out of Miami. And basically, I deep dived her videos. I think I watched maybe 400 or 500 hours of regression sessions. And I took notes and I got obsessed with it. And the answers I would find from her sessions answered my life. So at that point, I knew this is what I needed to do for the world and do for myself. So I became a Dolores Cannon practitioner. And since then, man, it's been a wild freaking ride. What I've discovered is it's insane, man. Like I used to feel crazy, but now I feel more vilified now, and I feel more heard and seen because back in the day you couldn't talk about these experiences because you were stigmatized. Like even today, certain people around us, like you still can't tell the truth, even like to your closest co-workers and family, and like. But I feel that a rift has happened, a uncovering of the veil, and like people are wanting to search for these things because they're tired of living the material life. They're tired of not feeling substance and feeling connection to anything. They're just all disconnected. And that's what hypnosis helped me do. It helped me figure out why I was disconnected in life, why I was pushing these memories away, why I went through so much trauma. So now I've done over 500 clients and I've discovered so many amazing things. And I'm here now in this moment of discovery.
That's
How
awesome.
many sessions have you done, Drago, so
I've
far?
I would say around 520 individual people, but I would say around 800 sessions. But with QHHT, we only count the individuals we do. We don't count all the sessions. So the additional sessions, I would say up to 300, those are deep diving. Repeat clients coming in, SSP related stuff, MK Ultra, trauma, abuse, people wanting to know their extraterrestrial lineage, going all the way back to source, creating a book for themselves, just me showing them all the lives they've lived and answering unlimited questions. So that
Wow.
deep dive into individuals, putting them under multiple times with the same person, wow, it shows us that we are these complex energy that is non-physical, and we basically incarnate life to life, paying out karma, doing experiences, and just living life to see what we're capable of. And that's truly what we are.
Oh, beautiful. Yeah. It's amazing what you've done so far and the journey you're on. You're definitely one of a kind in a lot of ways. And I think we know, well, we know, but others should definitely know more about your story and the portal technology and things like that, that you're starting to find out more and more and what you do behind the scenes and whatever other realities, when it comes to this SSP stuff, it goes into a rabbit hole, that's for sure. So yeah, yeah. Lots to uncover there. Yeah.
That's definitely my realm, man. I love the realm of Doctor Strange because basically I kind of have his abilities because of my trauma and what I've been through in my bike crash and all that stuff. And like the ability to see in slow motion and to have complex scenarios all unfold simultaneously and you being able to figure out any scenario at the blink of an eye. It's
Mhm.
crazy, man. And like I've like a 99 point something accuracy rate, man. Like it's insane. And like I think it was 5 years ago, 6 years ago when I started QHHT that I found out within the first year that I was supposed to be bringing portal technology to the world. And I'm like, what? I'm
Mhm.
like, that would never pass the National Security Act censors. I'm like, come on, why me? And then
Mhm.
years later, I figure out I'm involved in these programs with Portal Tech. And fast forward to now, I just launched my show, Portal to Another Dimension. So it all segues back into portals no matter what. It all returns back to the source of portals.
Right. Right.
Wow,
Amazing. Yeah.
very cool. Okay, I guess in general, coming in 2024, what do you guys see happening this year? What are your thoughts or insights or intuition telling you that's in store for us in the year ahead?
Laura, go for it if you want.
Oh, what's in store for us for the year ahead? Oh gosh, I'm not one to like want to create predictions because I really feel it's about us individually. Like, what's in store for you? What it has to fall back on the person. I really feel like the sun and Pluto in Aquarius, Pluto going direct in Aquarius, is a huge shift. I feel it's going to be a lot more difficult for them to throw any psyops or just pandemic kind of stuff at us without more of an uproar and more of a like enough already. I really like appreciate Dr. Shiva's movement and what he's doing, and just every individual who's just really standing strong in their sovereignty or what their real soul mission is, instead of answering to this divide and conquer, like fear tactic strategies that are wanting to assimilate people into an artificial timeline, which has been very successful to a certain degree, right? But I see a lot more of like rehabilitation, more coming to terms with the injuries and the wounds of what this deep state and cabal has done to people through the medical industry and the educational systems and like every sector of our society, and like where that has harmed us. Like there'll be more resources for how to recover and heal from that on a physical level, on an emotional, mental, every level, deprogramming, healing the physical body, and recovering and really standing strong in, just like us being the disclosure. Who knows how the elections are going to go? It's probably going to be just as targeted as it was last time, to keep the good ones out of the way. But, maybe they'll be more revealed about how much some of these leaders that we thought were maybe heroes actually really aren't. I don't know. I think people are starting to be a lot more resourceful, a lot more focused on how to be self-sufficient and sovereign and protected and prepared for the times ahead, because anything, could happen. Whatever getting shut down, money system shifting, the electrical grid collapsing, internet, it's just like we want to be prepared for everything, but be also inspired to be true to ourselves and what we can create as we rebuild and manifest sort of this new earth energy, which isn't really new. It's just a part of like the newness being a breakthrough of, we don't need to be in this dependency bond with this inverted system, and be dragged into it, and have it like harvest our creative imagination and our like vitality and our life force. We can like move it over here and work like in alignment with cosmic and natural law and the abundance that Mother Earth provides, and build community and pool our resources together to, create something a lot better than what we've been given, so that our kids don't have to, sit in class and be confused about their gender and have the government, act like they're the parent, and the parents really don't have much of a voice. I mean, one of the most shocking things I saw in 2023 was a woman, a headline saying a woman's kidnapped her child. How do you kidnap your own kid? Because she left the system and wanted to go to an alternative community because she didn't want to go along with the mandates or the government tyranny.
Mm-hmm.
That the government thinks it owns your kids more than the mother or the father, that would be called kidnapping, right? So I think, the surge of energies, Saturn, Neptune conjunct, a lot about like the spiritual, the belief systems, where can we move beyond the distortions of false beliefs that are not in alignment with our ability to manifest and co-create a beautiful, future. So Saturn wants to create structure, discipline, and responsibility. Neptune wants to expand into the multidimensional and the spiritual. But where is Saturn limiting that through indoctrination or religion or like Israel wars and all this kind of stuff? Where
Mhm.
can we, take the upper hand and be in the higher level of that Saturn energy and, anchor heaven on earth, because our consciousness and our empowerment and our truth and what we envision and what we dream, is what we are going to ground and anchor and manifest as, the world that we can, create. So I predict that people are going to be a lot more empowered to just like not be answering to something outside of themselves, but answering to something within, and then being more inspired to find like-minded people that are that have had enough as well,
Mhm.
and then just start to rebuild a new existence. So that to me is Pluto moving into Aquarius, the Aquarian age, whatever you want to call it. Um, but of course, the weaponized psyop inverted version of it, yeah, a lot of people will go down that road, but I think a lot of people will begin to just have enough of it. And so that bridge between the two splitting timelines and this bifurcation,
Mhm.
will be sort of like pulling as many people out of that muck and into like what really will help sustain them and help them recover and rehabilitate and overcome, the trauma and tragedy of being so betrayed and assaulted and on every level, which is what this New World Order agenda has done to people, that they consented to something that has actually been harmful that they thought was helpful. It's like, I think
Yeah.
a lot more awakening is going to happen.
Yeah, I love that. I love the positive take on that, because there is going to be that turmoil, I think. And just remember, just reminded me of 2020, and that was, right after 2019, we just said how that beautiful like Contact in the Desert, for instance, was a great conference. That was like one of the biggest venues and most amount of people gathered at one time. And I remember even saying at that conference, this will probably never happen again, because it's at the tipping point of so many waking up. And I just felt like, whether good or bad, something's going to happen that's just going to just kind of flip one way or another. And then, of course, 2020 happens, and we all know the pandemic and everything. And it was like you were saying, the inversion and like the perversion of the truth and what's real, what we're really, what we really want to see. But everything's flipped over, everything's upside down. And so that's just, I think it's been a gradual move since then. But so 2023 has actually been really tumultuous. But you're saying, do you think, based on the astrology and even as a collective, that 2024 is going to be more of that, but then also at the same time more of a change for the better and a positive spin?
I see a change for the better. If you look at the nodes, North Node in Aries, also Chiron in Aries, it's very much the wounded ego, the wounded warrior, the wounded healer. Mars, North Node. Okay, we want to like step into that and look at that. Are we going to be victimized? Are we going to have false identities that are based in, being groomed and indoctrinated? Or are we going to like look at how we've been wounded and injured by these things and be the warrior and like move forward and like lead by example and like, just people are, obviously at different stages depending on where we're looking, how immersed a person is in the system versus people that have already prepared or like have let go of that a long time ago, like us, like never was really about it. Um,
Right.
so how
The
much?
BS meter is coming into factor a lot more. I just remember,
Yeah,
I just
yeah. So
talked about that. Yeah. Uh-huh.
yeah. So I mean, like every aspect, planetary alignment has its shadow side of how a person's going to respond to it, and a squared aspect always creates like challenge and conflict. So in the face of that conflict and challenge or adversity, do you cower in fear and be victimized and give your power away, or do you start to see through the bullshit and you become more empowered, more resourceful, more connected to like what your intuition is trying to tell you and what other people have been trying to like show you, all the red flags that you might have ignored that are now like blazing like bonfires, like, come on over here, guys. I don't
Yeah.
know. I just think, yeah, it can only continue to just ripple out. And, I think there's a lot more being held accountable, a lot more just like, because so much damage has been done. You can censor all you want, but like, people have real stories, people that
Yeah.
didn't like believe in what we might have warned them about or what we are saying, now they're living the results. And so, you know, the compassionate ones that are going to help them to recover and heal, you know, I think there's going to be a lot, you know, of that, of coming to terms with like, wow, you know, all the manipulation of, you know, people thinking it was the right thing to do to protect others, you know, how people's good intent has been so targeted, you know, and it's just so mean. Like these agendas are so mean, and that, you know, I just see more love and compassion with a lot of Neptune, Saturn, that the new structure of Saturn is going to be, you know, let's get real, let's be let's be compassionate, let's be loving, you know, be spiritual, not dogmatic religious and in these wars with each other of like, my God, your God, but like really, what does it mean to be a Christed being, a person of compassion, a person who really just like wants to help your fellow brother and sister, neighbor, you know, and just like, you know, like we're, you know, just like recover from the atrocities of all these assaults that the human race has been experiencing for thousands of years.
Yeah,
Yeah,
listen, yeah.
yeah. A lot of times it's gotten so bad that people are that were blind before just waking up left and right because it's just so extreme. And I like the idea that you mentioned about having a bridge now, kind of to help people get over to this, um, you know, more of a 5D type timeline in the bifurcation, and bringing more people um, to that side of knowing their higher selves, and you know, just owning their sovereignty and being their authentic self to really feel and tap into, you know, where we're supposed to ascend to. So that, I think there's a lot of that is going to happen. I definitely agree. Um, but talking about timelines, like I know Drago, you have some ideas about timelines and your experience with that. Um, as we talk about, you know, a lot of people talk about, you know, the 3D timeline. There's going to split off for the 5D timeline, and you know, people who are aware and, you know, attuned to various, you know, frequencies will be able to live in a different, better timeline than the 3D one. So, I guess, what are your thoughts on that? Are we diverging or converging to something else, or there's a lot of different takes on it. So, it's curious what you think about that.
Well, the universe is so convoluted that the answer is both yes and no. It depends what you signed up for. You made an incarnational agreement to be here at this time, in this place, in this moment, this time of evolution and awakening and revolution. So if your path with your evolution and your karma is going to steer you towards the more negative timeline, then that's what you're going to experience. If you've done the internal work and you've been trying to clear your karma, you've been working on that dark night of the soul, and you're clearing those contracts, you're fulfilling your agreements, then you can ascend to the next one. But understand, this is a multiverse. We are existing simultaneously in 5D and 3D and 1D and all the other dimensions simultaneously. If you remember that you are source, you are a fractal of God, meaning you exist within all the dimensions. So trying to say that your consciousness is only localized to this one timeline won't make sense. We found out that time is not linear. So you're living all your lives simultaneously, past, present, and parallel at the same moment. So to only focus on the question is, where are we headed? You're only thinking from a single life of all the lives you're living simultaneously, where you're existing already in 5D. You're existing in all these other dimensions. So it's an answer that's hard to give you because, again, this is a multiverse. The answer is yes and no.
Right.
So it's kind of like experience. Two people, you'll get a group of people and they'll experience the same thing, right? They'll argue amongst themselves about what actually happened because both people are right. One person saw one thing happen, the other person saw another thing happen. That is separate. It is separate in timeline. We assume we're living the same timeline simply because we say we co-create this timeline, therefore it's one congruent timeline. No, it's not. It's 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 like the Russian nesting doll. It's an onion. It's layers upon layers upon layers, fractalized. And
Mhm.
we're living all of it. So does that kind of answer that question a little bit? Make
It
it make more sense?
it's kind of
Yeah.
like where your mind and where your heart goes is where you're going to eventually end up if you, where you want to focus your attention, right? In a lot of ways.
And
It's
we all
kind of
have the perspectives on it. So, and until you have all those perspectives collectively, you don't have a whole truth or, the whole experience as it is. Yeah.
And like Laura was saying earlier, like it's hard to make predictions about what's going to happen because no one is coming to the conclusion that we're all experiencing different timelines simultaneously. And this is proved in the Mandela effect. That's why we all argue amongst ourselves about what Darth Vader said, or like Forrest Gump's box of chocolates, or the freaking Berenstein Bears. It's all irrelevant. Everybody's correct. We have merged into this timeline, in this time stream. We're all getting thrown together. Talked about this in a couple of other shows, but like the timeline is sentient and it does not like to be changed. It is conscious. It is a living being. And when you try to change something that has consciousness, that host consciousness is not going to like it. And that timeline's a little bit more powerful than the being trying to create it. So it's always going to pop back in itself. And I believe that all these things happen around the world and all the Mandela effects, it's because we've messed up time so much that time's trying to correct itself. And we're in that moment. So you asked Laura, what predictions do we have this year? It depends what you agreed to witness. If you want to witness more Dominion fraud, more election interference, more people just rising in the millions across country to country and country. I've never seen this many people rise in my life, not in any time in history. Like, it's totaling billion, that many hundreds of millions of people total that are rising against their own governments right now. So everybody is tired of it. We're tired of being lied to. We're tired of all the false flags. We're tired of them throwing it in our face with predictive programming of what they're going to do. And I think we've had enough of it. So I believe this is our moment in time. And we don't know what's going to happen. I don't believe anyone knows what's going to happen. So if you're going to make predictions, that's a really scary ground to walk through, because almost every time you're going to be wrong. And I'll stick to that. That's what my prediction is.
Nice.
Good way to look at it.
Yeah.
I have a question. Well, I definitely want to talk about Laura's. I know she's got a book coming out, but to preface that, I hope it's okay to talk about that, Laura. You already talked about it. But you, when I've seen, of course, a lot of your talks, and I've been privileged to see you a couple of times, and I was curious to get more background on Dan Cooper and your relationship with Dan Cooper, like who he is and kind of the intel you've gotten, and things that have kind of helped validate more about your great grandfather, about President Eisenhower, and what his role was and who he was interacting with. And, a lot of things that are coming to light that maybe even this disclosure movement had wrong, right? I'd love to hear more about that.
Yeah, well, that's definitely all in my book. So Dan Cooper says he is the senior advisor to the Earth Alliance. I could find his bio if that would help people, but I don't know if I can get it up too quickly. But yeah, he's got quite the story. And he's shared a lot of information with me. He put a comment under a video I did, a roundtable with Dan Willis and Elena. And he was just correcting some things, and he was just saying, well, actually this happened, and it was very detailed. And I said, whoa, can I talk to you? This is fascinating. I've never really heard this. And he said, yeah. And immediately I think I gave him my email. He immediately emailed me. He said, hey, it's Dan Cooper. And from that point on, we had a back and forth.
And now he was supposedly part of the secret space program too, in a 20
yeah, he was part of the secret space program, Dark Fleet, and Project Moonshadow, and how this all got turned around. Eisenhower played a part in shifting the military into a positive direction, super soldier programs. Obviously not all of it, but the Earth Alliance and the ICC, the USMC Special Section, Randy Kramer has talked about it. Well, he's a part of it. Dan Cooper had like this transfer from, being controlled by, the Dark Fleet. A lot of the information that he told me was coming from his, from the Nazis. And then he was able to shift over and become the senior advisor to the Earth Alliance, and he has a direct relationship with the Guardians. And he was able to disclose information to me about his what he does, what the missions are all about, and Eisenhower's relationship with Valthor, and how Eisenhower petitioned the Guardians to put an outer barrier around the planet in 2014, set up, the White Hats and the Earth Alliance, and just all these different, things that, I go into detail in my book. It's hard to just kind of like say in an interview. It's just
of course.
so much, but like an unconditional surrender agreement that took place in 1952 under Truman, and actually the Valthor was advising the Truman administration, and that warning about the Nordics and the Greys, right? So a lot of what we hear in the disclosure community is that the first contact was with the Nordics, and the Nordics were warning about the Greys. But Valthor supposedly warned about the Nordics and their connection with the Nazis in the eugenics programs, and all these different things, and the underground city of New Berlin that was created, and also warned about the Greys. And so Eisenhower and Valthor's relationship, began a lot earlier on than a lot of people thought, but then that whole putting him on VIP status for 3 years at the Pentagon, from Frank Strange's book, happened later in the 1950s. But there was an invasion of the Dulce underground base that he ordered, and then attempted to do that as well to Area 51. So all of that is in the book. Like, him and I had a back and forth exchange. I asked him every question under the sun. And yeah, he just generously just gave me a lot of information. So I have just hundreds of emails, and I put, the really significant ones in the book. And I also brought in, other things that I've heard, just for the reader to be like, okay, well, we heard this, but now look at this. And it actually makes a whole hell of a lot of sense that when the UFOs flew over the Capitol in 1952, that was when the unconditional surrender agreement took place. And what that meant was that MJ-12 was the ones that were making the deals with the technology trades, and that was all MJ-12. It wasn't Eisenhower that signed the treaties. And that is what the internet, or the false narratives and false disclosure stories are going to tell you, is that Eisenhower was the one that signed the Greada Treaty. And back and forth with Dan, he's just like, how many times do I have to tell you? It's absolutely impossible, because the unconditional surrender agreement stated that, this was only in the hands of MJ-12. The president had lost like that power and the top secret information, all the levels above the president. 1947, these laws were put into place. And then 1952, it was solidified with that unconditional surrender agreement to the Nazis. And so because Eisenhower didn't want to go along with that, he covertly began to set up this positive military on all these different levels with the assistance of Valthor.
Wow, that's what I was gonna say. He basically started the alliance in that whole process back then, right?
The Earth Alliance, the White Hats, and just connecting in with the Guardians. And then that is somehow connected to why I was born into this family. And there was a book written that said, because that he was not bent on power or corruption, he worked with these star beings, that they would have a future descendant come into the family to disclose the truth that relates to his speech about the military industrial complex. And so when the woman handed me the book, she goes, they're talking about you. And I'm like, what?
Wow.
And that's in the book too, like how there's a whole migration of souls, like you guys, like all of us that are doing this work, that there would be a migration of souls coming in 1952, the same year the unconditional surrender agreement was signed, that there was a migration of advanced souls called light lives that would come in like star seeds that would bring about this great awakening. And one would be in the Eisenhower family, and many that are like all of us that come together and do what we can to disclose as much information as we can, with love in our hearts, and not in the divide and conquer and bullshit that, sometimes infiltrates these movements and these
Yeah.
communities. So that's not like what we're all about. So, I would say that a lot of people are that migration of souls, but this isn't the first migration, right? Going back to the, Emerald Covenant, Emerald Order, and how that all got like messed with in the Atlantean times. But it's just, yeah, this is just a lot. I'll just kind of leave it at that for now.
I love it that you have it all in one place now. I'm sure there's so much.
I'm so glad it's all in a book. It's just kind of like
Yeah, yeah.
takes so much pressure off. Just read the book. I hope yeah, really helps people to connect some dots, because that's what I've been doing.
Oh, I know it will. I know you must. Yeah, you must. You're going to be, so relieved, and we're going to be so grateful for finally getting to read it. Did you get any validation too, based on? I mean, I don't know. A lot of people know about your sort of you're trying to get in. You're almost indoctrinated or told, this was by your own free will to go to this off-planet, mission to Mars and all that kind of thing. I don't know if people realize that, but you have a whole personal experience with that, and someone were in a relationship with and try to get you to go with them. That's a crazy story in itself. Did you get a lot of validation from
Dan?
From Dan had,
yeah, and it's in the book too. Just they didn't expect me to go in this direction. They thought that they could, kind of convince me that going to Mars would have been a good idea. And so there was a pre-targeting before birth, because I guess they found out that, a child would come in and want to expose all this stuff. And so with the looking glass technologies, they were able to, target me, and a partner who, with like my labs and a lot of manipulation, kind of like used him as bait to draw me in to like go off planet. And I think that is part of the bigger agreement of crushing military industrial complex and like alternative 3 and things that took place in the Eisenhower administration, that would be presented to me, as a choice, So when Drago and I did a show with Ileana, the Star Traveler, remote viewer, I supposedly counseled Ike or warned him in that administration. And then he's been my guide in this lifetime, which helped me to not, go to Mars. So it's kind of like, it's like, oh, we're in the human realm. We don't quite remember everything, but, like, 'cause he was showing up when I was a kid, and then in spirit form or whatever, I was able to influence him or help him to not make any deals or trust the bad guys or the wrong people. So it's been like this very like bigger picture kind of mission, for a while. And yeah, just the relationship with Valthor and having lifetimes on Venus, and just being, part of the star beings that played a role in influencing the administration, then coming into human form, right? So here we are, like you guys, we're here in human form, right? But we've been other things before, and it's very different when you're land in this physical body. But it all just like starts to make sense. And so and really, I think the greatest message is, and what a lot of the communication is that it's not about the governmental system. It's not about one leader. It's about awakening that within all of us, that we have such a calling to answer to. And if we can like just really listen to that inner voice and stand strong and being true to your calling, that's what's going to shift the planet. And I think his final speech, being influenced by Valthor, saying a knowledgeable and aware citizenry is what is going to, help us to deal with the misplacement, the misuse of power, the military industrial complex. A knowledgeable and aware citizenry. That's what's going to save the day, because it's a war on consciousness. It's all about the indoctrination and the mind control, and how after 1947 and 1952, that whole period of, MK Ultra programs and all the Mockingbird media and everything, grooming and indoctrinating, humans into consenting to a new world order and this globalist, agenda. A knowledgeable and aware citizenry is going to win the war of the mind of the soul, you know, this AI, transhumanism, right? We're seeing gender confusion. And I mean, it's just like we're living it. We're living it. You know, it's a total showdown of forces right now for people to just like really walk away and become that knowledgeable and aware citizenry, because it's not going to really come from the governments. It's going to come from our ability to do the real work inwardly. And you know, we've all been tasked with like a very, very important mission. And the more we bring it together in a unified way, the more we're going to crush it, because it doesn't have any power except for the power it's stolen and tricked us out of. So we are the ones that have the power. We're the powers that be. You know, they're just like stolen power, manipulation, siphoning, harvesting, and inverting everything. So
Exactly. Draco, you want to add anything to that?
I was thinking when Ike set up the special section of the Marine Corps through Project Moonshadow, that was when he had found out that Monarch had their own secret space program and their own super soldiers. And basically what Project Moonshadow was, it was a project focused on training MyLabs without the trauma-based mind control. So it was the first program that did not use trauma and splintering and alters to create soldiers. So he did it the right way. He wanted to contribute to something that would be like spy versus spy. You have the white hats and the black hats. So like that was literally his response with Moonshadow. And the MyLabs that were involved in Moonshadow, I think it was 300 kids, and they were sent to Lunar Operation Command. And when they grew up, they were sent to Earth Defense Force and into Radiant Guardian, and then to other stuff like Mars Defense Force. So like the legislation he made, like that was pivotal. I always get that word wrong. I got that word wrong in the last show. It was pivotal and balancing the war, because for the first time we had soldiers with clear minds against soldiers that's been tortured and traumatized their entire life. So imagine that. It's like the entire G.I. Joe story. You have the good guys and the bad guys, but they're all in the secret space program. A lot of them are all military abductions, and this is the current war of the planet, one side against the other.
When did
Is
that
that
happen?
the technology? Yeah, is that the technology that has like the green light and the red light, or what's that?
Okay,
That
so 3GR only came out on 6th gen soldiers. So basically, I think I'm a 5th gen, which means I was born in 1980, and I think you had 5 years to your year, and it tells you what gen you are. So my year range is 5th gen. They started doing 3GR and 6th gen soldiers. So I was one of the ones that had to unfortunately go through all the negative stuff.
Yeah.
And now they use 3GR. They basically flash 3 green lights, then 1 red light, then a tone. And it puts you in a programmable hypnagogic state, no matter who you are. And they even showed it in the series Fringe in one of the episodes. It freaked me out when I saw it the first time. I'm like, they put real classified technology in that show, and it was done so fast. I was just like, my mind was blown, man.
I know I like that show for a reason. That was a good show.
There's nothing but truth in Fringe, man. Like if anybody wants to deep dive into timelines and they don't understand how complicated time is and time travel, watch the entire series Fringe. It's about the entire MK Ultra program. It's about time travel, timelines, everything.
oh yeah, no, I think
Yeah.
I did watch. I think I watched all of it. You're talking about the series Fringe?
Yeah, the series.
Yeah, amazing show. And it had Leonard Nimoy. He played William Bell. He was basically the leader of Massive Dynamics, and that would be basically the top of the military industrial complex.
Oh yeah, that's right.
William Bell was making all the classified technologies for the MIC and stuff, and they admitted all that in the show. That's why they call it Massive Dynamics, because it was the biggest on the planet, the biggest corporation.
And it's interesting that the 2 main characters are Jessica and Peter. That's what Jessica would always say, like the correlation between that. Well, I don't know, maybe that's just coincidence, but related to.
She does say that. She says she's the original Olive. And that's why Peter remembers me so much from the ops, because we took part in a lot of the same ops, me, him, and Jessica. And I feel that's kind of what happened to me. I was taken from another timeline and put in another timeline against my will. And that my story's public with that. Peter and Jessica's already verified that. Like, I've had remote viewing done on that, and it's just like, I just don't know why it was done. Because certain remote viewers, they tell me it's classified. You know, that means we cannot go any further with this because even talking about it in private can be dangerous, you know?
Wow. Wow. Okay. And Ileana, did she say that when was she one of the people that was saying I can't say more, or?
She's one of them, but when someone tells you it's classified, you have to drop it because you have to understand for operational security, you can affect them by them giving you information they remote viewed, and that can cause backlash with them and harm them. So you got to respect it, man.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow.
And then Ileana did some awesome remote viewing for you guys as well.
Yes, she did. That she and we'll try to get into that. We're trying to confirm and validate a lot of this stuff, but it was amazing that I thought, because I was talking to you, Drago, about this, and I thought you had given her that whole summary that I did, which was very vague anyway. But she was like, no, I didn't get anything. I just got your grandfather. It was about your grandfather. And then she went off that. And I was like, holy crap. If she somehow tapped into all that. But anyway, it's about time and it's related to time. And our grandfather might have been one of the first to deal with like whatever. It was chronovisor related stuff and things like that. But
Yeah,
even
talking about stuff
you know,
that he mentioned in his book about, he never got into specifics about it. I know he probably wasn't comfortable divulging so much publicly, but what he hinted about was kind of right on what she was talking about, and she had never apparently seen his book or knew anything about him. So it was pretty remarkable because it was very specific. Yeah.
yeah.
About Ileana is she doesn't like to know anything about any subject. She likes to remote view. She does it like Courtney Brown taught her, man. Do it blind. Don't go in with predispositions or assumptions of what you're going to be viewing because that's when you contaminate the data.
Mhm.
That's why it's best to have a tasker give you an 8-digit number and that remote viewer has no idea what they're going to be viewing.
Mhm.
Now the remote viewer can say, hey, tasker, I'm going to give you 10 subjects, 20 subjects. That's all the remote viewer is going to know about.
Mhm.
Subconsciously, she knows the idea of what's going to see, but the tasker is going to give her what she's going to see, and she's going in blind. So I was careful with what I told Ileana. As we discussed privately, don't tell her any details. We want a nice, clean viewing, and then boom. Everything you suspected, everything you figured out that was written about, it was confirmed. And she had no idea about your grandfather at all.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
It's mind blowing. Yeah, for sure.
It just gets us to ask more questions than we definitely have more questions now. So it's going to be interesting. But on that note, just out of side notes, like I'm trying to go down the remote viewing side of things to find out answers for now anyway. But I think my brother would definitely be up to a QHHT with you sooner rather than later, and see what happens. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
I'd be into that. I think Jessica tried something with me before, and I had some success with it a little bit. Um, but yeah, I'd like to go like deeper into that on the QHHT side of things for sure.
Well, the good thing about QHHT is it's in person only. Like most of the modalities are done online, so it's easier to meet someone, look them in the face, look them in the eyes, and read their energy versus like you doing something over the internet because it's not really personal. Like when it's like this interview, like we're talking to each other, but there's nothing better than us all four being in the same room having a dialogue or discourse, you know?
mhm.
So doing it in person, it makes it more personal. It makes you trust a little bit more. It makes you allow you to drop your walls a little bit more because you're deep diving into my soul when you meet me. You can see who I am. I'm notorious for being 100% real no matter what. If I have something to tell you, I'll tell you.
Mhm.
Period. I'm real.
I
And
think it goes for both of you. You and Laura, Laura is the same way. That's what I think. So many people gravitate to her message, and she's just truly authentic with what she says and no BS. So that's why you two make a great dynamic duo. Just like it's amazing. It's cool.
Oh, thanks. That's
Yeah.
awesome.
I
Well, I
freaking
will
love
be.
it.
I may be in your area, maybe like in the May timeframe. So I'll be in touch to see if we can maybe line something up. That would be pretty
Oh,
awesome.
what? My area?
Drago down in Florida.
Oh, in May?
That'd be cool. March, you said March?
Oh, March. I'll
May.
be down there in March too. I have an expo, New Life
Oh no,
Expo.
I'll be there in May. I'll be there in May.
Oh, okay. May.
We'd love to get up to where you are there, Laura.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
You live in the best place ever.
Yeah, it's pretty good. We're buried
So-
in snow right now, but it's cool.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
think
he's
Laura
great.
loves it so much because she was an extreme wildlife tour guide, or you know what I'm saying, like instructor. So like this girl can live in the cold and the climates like it's nothing, and like make a fire and like
Oh
50
yeah.
mile-an-hour wind when you're going to die. You know, like
Yeah.
she's like the
Survival
badass.
training. Yeah.
It's like
God.
no one realizes how much of a badass Laura actually is, because to take somebody in those extremes, it's you that have the life of everyone's hands in your palm. And it's your decisions, your experience, you
Yeah.
going through your own dark night of the souls of doing that kind of extreme stuff. So like Laura, I've always given her credit of being a badass, because you know what? I don't like cold. Just because I'm Russian doesn't mean I like to be cold, man. Like it's like 50 degrees outside. I'm like, ooh, I'm gonna put a jacket on. But like Laura, she posts videos on the snow and blizzard. She's like, oh yeah, we're just feeding the goats and the cows and everything. I'm like, Jesus, it's so horrible in my opinion. But like, look at the majestic nature that surrounds where you're at in Montana, man. Like it's freaking amazing. All the photos you post all the time, just to go on those walks and just to explore nature. Most people would give their life to experience that for what
Yeah.
you have. And like, don't take it for granted, Laura. I know you of all people never take life for granted. And like,
No.
You lived in a car. You lived in a car, right? I mean, you've been through everything to get.
Oh yeah, I lived
Yeah.
out vehicles. Yeah, mothering two little babies, twins, boys. Yeah, yeah, moved all over, very nomadic. But you know, I want to create like a retreats and have people come and
Yeah.
go off on wilderness excursions. Maybe not in the winter, you know, that it's. But we could do it. I know how to do it. Yeah, for sure. I mean,
And
that
I'm
was a
sure
long
your
time
sons
ago, but yeah. What's that?
I'm sure your sons are amazing at it now because you probably taught them so much.
Yeah. Yep. My son's like homesteading. He's in a tent, you know, in the mountains in the winter. He's all hooked up, and I constantly send, you know, the equipment like, hey, you probably need this and probably need that. And he built himself a little tiny house too here if he comes back. But yeah, I'm really glad that my kids are like, we're very similar. That's not always the case when people have kids. Sometimes it's
Right.
just,
Right.
I have a lot of clients who are very awakened people, but their kids are very in the wokeism, you know, because they went through the system. I'm glad my kids are on board with all this kind of stuff. I mean, I remember taking them to Dane Wigington's house in high school before they dropped out and just got their GED doing like homeschool kind of. I took them to Dane Wigington's house and he educated them about geoengineering and about chemtrails and gave them a stack of papers and flyers and they're like handing it out in their school about chemtrails. And then, yeah, they were just like, nobody's like taking this seriously. I don't really want to go to school anymore. It's like, I totally understand. I was that kind of student. And, yeah, so yeah,
That remains, yeah. No, I was gonna say I love that it's the next generation. That's what me and my brother are hoping as well. I think that's what we're here for. It's for us to take the next generation where they need to go and teach them all that we can, all that they'll listen to anyway, but or just guide them in the right direction. But yeah, that's why I'm so glad we met you, Laura, and I feel connected with you because it runs in the family. It's like, you know, that you were here and your great grandfather was there to guide you, and like you said, you were probably guiding him when before you were born. And I feel like me and my brother for sure have a deep connection with our grandfather in doing this mission. 100%. It's just it makes sense, and just the messages. Yeah, everything I'm sure there's messages and signs that you even feel like you get from beyond the veil, like him saying, "Yep, that's the right way to go. You're doing exactly what you're supposed to." Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
Totally.
I'm
much
curious, Drago, have you ever done QHHT with Laura? Have you ever
Oh,
guys
yeah.
done that together?
Good idea.
No?
So Laura's never done a QHHT session, and she's holding out for me to be the first one to take Laura down that rabbit hole. She's like, "I'm gonna let you be the first one." So the funny thing is, when we first talked about that, no one really knew Laura's never had a QHHT session. And the moment I knew if I talked about it, every freaking QHHT practitioner in the world is now going to be hitting up Laura Eisenhower saying, "Laura, let me do your QHHT session."
Yeah.
We agreed it would be me to be the first one. So that is the honor for me. And
Awesome.
I would love to do that for her. And she knows how much that would mean to me, because I feel we could probably do a 10-hour session, give her the most amazing session she's ever going to have her entire life.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Well, I'm going to Florida twice this year in 2024.
It'll take a couple trips, probably take a few trips to do it all together.
Yeah.
Laura's going to be one of those clients. Remember where I said I've done over 500 and then I'm into those 300 sessions? Laura will probably be one of those people where I put under for the next 20 years and we will still not recover the complexity and totality of how complicated this chick is.
Oh God.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe it's not all that.
You always underestimate yourself, Laura. I've always referred to you as a gentle Leviathan. Something that's so big, it's like an Anunnaki giant, but it's the one that chose to cherish humanity and to see the beautiful things. And I believe you're so big that you don't even see how big you even are.
For sure. I agree with that statement. Like that's why they had to try to take her off planet, just to like get rid of her. Like, well, that's the only way we can do it. Like, it's the only way we can stop her. And
That's
I
what
always
I told her on my first episode of Portal to Another Dimension. I'm like, they had to have targeted you and seen that you caused so much crap in this timeline and woke up so many people up that they had to get you to Mars. And then you're like, "No, bro, I'm good. I'm just gonna, I like this planet. I love it. I'm not going nowhere."
Exactly. Yep. And if she needs she's got an army behind her, just like her great grandfather. So she's got all the soldiers behind her. So yeah, it's
Man, this is just touching my heart so much.
yeah.
Yeah, it's so hard to really feel all that. I'm just trying to deal with the human world, just trying to just function every day. And I don't, yeah, it's hard to like see myself in all that. I don't, but it's okay. It is what it is. I'm just grateful for you guys. Wow. We're doing this together. It's just like, wow.
It's funny, she's like the real life Sarah Connor, like the freaking extreme survivalist badass. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm surprised no one's ever done a meme of Laura with all these weapons and she's walking through life contact in the desert and she's armed with all this weapons of knowledge.
Right. All the light energy coming out. Yeah, exactly.
You guys are
It's true. But Drago, that's a good point. If you have reservations like Laura, I think part of the protocols of QHHT is you have to basically ask, does your higher self agree to, reveal this certain types of information, right? Is that kind of part of how it works?
Yeah, so most people's fears, they think that when I put them under, that they're going to divulge information they wouldn't have normally told me. That's not how it works. The conversation we're having right now, you're as conscious as you are now as you are when you were under. You know you're laying on a couch directly next to me. You know that I'm guiding you through something you're seeing and you're trying to explain it with your third eye completely open. You know what I'm saying? Like, so it's a conscious conversation. So your higher self will not disclose, even if it was me and Laura and I was doing a session on her. Her higher self would not divulge private information that Laura would probably not tell me in real life. And most people think that's how it works. That's not how it works. Your higher self is determined this needs to be talked about. There's trust there. They can sense through my energy. Like when I do clients and I put them under and I'm talking to their higher selves, I ask their higher selves to look into my soul, into my light, and to show that client that I would never harm them. I would never use them. I would never think of anything negative whatsoever. Like when I'm doing sessions, I always keep my thoughts completely pure. Even if I do an attractive woman, I will never ever let my mind acknowledge she's attractive at all, because I am literally talking to her higher self. So having a thought like that in your mind while trying to help create a transformation in somebody is very lowly. Does that make sense?
Yep.
So
Right.
I have shown the universe that I am to be trusted. And most of my clients are women. Guys hardly ever do QHHT sessions because they're hard asses, man. They don't want to face their traumas. They don't want to admit they have problems. They don't want to admit that they're breaking down crying behind the scenes. I admit that, and now it's a power of mine. It's a superpower. I cry all the time. You know how much pain and trauma there is in this world? And that makes me strong because I can externalize that and say that. It doesn't make me weak. Everybody else is weak that holds it in and they don't talk about it. They don't externalize it. They
Yeah.
don't pour it out of that trauma. You
Yeah,
have
you can
to
actually work through it and process through it and by expressing it, because otherwise it's just going to hold you back and just fester. Yeah, you have to do that.
And that's what we found on QHHT. It's a weight you hold until you bring these things forward from the past and forgive. You can no longer forget it. It'll stay there in your body, and it's a heavy weight. You ever release something so big, and the moment you did it, you felt light as a feather, and you felt all that pressure that was stomping your heart and compressing your soul, and for the first time you felt power in speaking that truth.
Exactly. Yeah. I think that's what we're all doing collectively. That's a good point. Like, I think collectively where we're going, like that's the timeline we were kind of talking about. Like, we have to all do that as a collective society, as much as, I mean, every country has to, but the US is so screwed up and been trauma-based mind controlled in so many ways just by our Mockingbird media and everything else. It's like, it's about time. Like, let's talk about it. Let's release that crap, So
Yeah,
yeah.
most people fear it though because they view it like you said as a weakness. But once on the other side of that, there's so much power, like you said, that feeling of like you just got all this heaviness weight off of you and you're free. It's like a freedom. It's amazing feeling for sure.
That's
Yeah.
allowed me to. I don't think I don't fear anything anymore. I've lost almost everything I've ever loved, and I'm to the point now where me coming forward with a testimony, like I've already died so many times in these programs, like I don't fear death anymore. And like if I have to be one of those lights that gets extinguished in the end, then that is worth it to me.
Right.
Because you extend it, if you extinguish my candle is so powerful, my death will light a million other candles through my single flame, just like Laura.
Yeah, exactly.
So you can't, you got to be careful who you kill in these in this world these days, because if you erase them from history, history's gonna pop you right in the ass and cause a revolution bigger than you would imagine by doing that.
That just thought made me think of JFK as an example. I mean, I think the fact that he was assassinated, it woke up a lot of people, at least at that time, to be like, "This something's going on here. We need to fix this timeline," because that's a big one. Yeah, no, just made me think about that.
Well, they had to start an entire commission called the Warren Commission just to combat all the people looking into what actually happened. Same thing that happened on September 11th. They started a commission of experts
Yeah.
and made a lot of money that basically said it was all a lie. So it's just like, come on, man. People see it, writing's on the wall. Be the change you want to see. If you want to have a world where we're no longer stepped on by these people, be the change you want to see, man. Start mobilizing.
Yeah.
You can't just do it with these shows. You
Yeah.
have to do it in person. Every mind you change, every mind that you awaken, that's a good life, man. That's a life well lived. So
Yeah.
you just got to keep doing it grassroots style, man, guerrilla style, one by one, and inspire everybody.
Yeah.
That's a good point. Go ahead, Dan. That makes me think of something else to ask.
Oh yeah, no, and that's the way it has to happen, a grassroots style. Yeah, because otherwise it's coming from you're just gonna. There's so much other stuff, other narratives out there. You talked about, the commissions around JFK or 9/11 or the current disclosure movement that through the government of what's happening right now. Like, what are your thoughts on that? Like, David Grush and all this stuff coming out and the way
Yeah.
they're letting it out and what they're saying and what they're not saying.
It's one of those traps, that question, because you got to realize, man, everybody keeps focusing on David Grush, but just like we talked about with Laura in the other show, that whistleblowers has been coming out for the last 40 years.
Yeah.
Oh
yeah.
Like, let's think
they
about
they don't get the attention like this guy is all of a sudden. Yeah.
Think about the press club disclosure. Like, what happened with that? Absolutely nothing. We had all these military witnesses, and
yeah, our grandfather was part of the original one, 2001. Yeah.
Didn't he originally have to step out for something because of that?
Yeah. He was afraid to say what he had to say. Like, the only one of the whistleblowers that said it just froze up, and like they had to take him off and say, okay, well, and then he left early. He was afraid to stay there. He didn't feel safe. So
you imagine the timeline he would have created, because you got to realize that everybody is so important that ultimately that could have been one of his missions. But you have to understand, your grandfather, man, he was so deep into this information involved with the government that I truly understand why he can't come forward. But can you imagine if he would have stepped forward during that event?
we wouldn't have David Grush, that's for sure. You know why we wouldn't have David Grush? Because our grandfather's the NRO. So he would have been like, by the way, I'm the NRO, and this is what's really happening. So David Grush would be like, sorry, I can't do my whole spiel now.
Yeah. Right.
And the thing is, like, David Grush, he literally told the Congress people that they asked him a specific question. He said, I'd be happy to answer that in a skiff.
Yeah.
That's what sucks. We can't even tell the truth, even if it's during a congressional testimony. We still have to maintain classified structure with material and in that knowledge. So again, how far can we go if people's not willing to risk their life to change the world?
Right. Yeah, I think it's in a way like a limited hangout. That's how I feel. It's kind of like controlled opposition in a way. I mean, Dr. Greer just came out again at the same time in the summer, just I think within the same week or with about the same time, with those four or five guys that had an amazing, mind-blowing testimony about their direct contact interactions with whatever vehicles, missions, and then all of a sudden David Grush comes in and you don't hear about any of it. So yeah, I just thought that was really suspicious. And again, we talked about this actually with Dr. Sala, and we said, there's a reason for it. It's still getting us in the right direction, right? With all the disclosure, all the testimony. But I think that's the government's way of kind of controlling it, just like they did with the Tic Tac event and all that stuff. I mean, it's the same kind of. Laura, what's your take on that? Would you agree to?
Agree on.
Just that it's they're still trying to slowly do the drip, 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 and it's just they don't want the real thing yet.
Yeah, absolutely. That's how I feel.
Yeah, I was gonna say about the whole movement too. This is important because of like people like us, what we're doing, and you find more and more people trying to come out with information and say, I have all the answers, or I have the best intel and all this stuff. Like the ego, people with that really want to try to come in, and it's ruined the movement in a lot of ways and disrupted the community. And we see it in conferences more and more now. We see it just on social media. But what is your guys' take on that and about what's happening?
Yeah, if you can't question somebody's information and a person gets really defensive or starts to block you, which happens a lot. Some things Drago and I have both witnessed with certain conferences, and I don't really want to name names or anything, but that's kind of like a red flag. We should just all be able to just explore all these topics without it. I feel truth has like a lot of confidence and it stands really strong on its own. And I feel when people get really bent out of shape, if you question what they're sharing, that there's a sign that they're hiding something or they're not very comfortable with what they're presenting. There's a certain, sort of like when we see people going along with the jab or the false narratives. They feel very defensive or very angry if you don't go along with it, because deep down they're very actually insecure or very uncomfortable with the decision they made, because if they felt really good about it, they wouldn't really care. They'd be like, well, I made my decision and I'm feeling good about it. Take it or leave it. There's a certain confidence or a certain strength that comes with being anchored in truth. So I find that those with the big egos that are presenting something that, like, if you question it or like, then you're a plant or you're a deep state, like Corey Good was like doing, that's a clear sign that, if you can't be questioned. My whole thing is I don't have fixed beliefs. I want to be a part of the greater conversation, and I want to share what I have discovered, and I want to hear what your thoughts are and what you've discovered, and let's put it all together and maybe we can figure this out. Right? Instead of pushing narrative and like being like offended if you don't go my way because I have all the answers or the truth. That's bullshit. It's a process. I'm true to myself. That's why my book's called Awakening the Truth Frequency. What does it mean to be true to yourself versus adopting a belief system to the point where you crush other people who don't go along with it? That's so old paradigm, disguised with this new age or disclosure ascension stuff. And it's like, aren't you guys calling that out? Or isn't the whole point of this to be done with that? No, you're doing the very same thing that we're trying to get away from.
Right.
So, and that is why it destroys it or tarnishes it, because that's not what it's supposed to be. So the ones I feel that remain, that are still connected, like us and others, that still have strong, solid friendships, that still come together to share information, that to me is where it's still authentic and where it's still real. And I see the rest of it and I just kind of keep it at arm's length. I don't get involved. I don't smear it. And I, not like saying who's who and doing what. I think, it's up to the individual to decide. I think it's pretty darn obvious. I don't think, people are stupid, even if they are duped for a bit, I give them a little bit more credit to discover this on their own without me having to get involved in the drama and the conflict, which is part of the divide and conquer strategy. But, some things are very harmful and need to be called out. I mean, this Disco Tina person, after one of the conferences in Florida, the Galactic Informers, man, she put out like the nastiest and meanest video about me. She's like, look at her. Like she took one photo of me. I might've been like tired, or like my expression was like this, or sitting on the panel. She's like, she's so ungrateful. And like, and it looks like she's drunk and like all this kind of stuff. It's like, yeah, okay. Like I have partied at events before, but I do show up and I do my presentations, and I actually don't like, I mean, I have a much stronger boundary to all that, because it's just whatever. I'm just not really needing all that. But, it's just like, why are people sinking to this level? It's like,
Right.
It cost me so many subscribers and so much support, because this woman is just like projecting and like taking like little sound bites or pictures and creating a scenario based in her projection that was like really nasty. And the person who organized the event didn't really stand up for me, but Drago did. And I was really impressed by that. Thank you, Drago. But it's just like, it's a big repellent. So I'm not like really caring to be invited back to some of these things. I just, I'm all about mutual love and respect and compassion and, being very understanding. Like, this is really difficult. We're targeted, we have traumas. We're doing the best we can. Can we be gentle with each other, if we're having a hard time and a hard day, and not project like, oh, you're on drugs, or you're doing this, or you're doing that, or it's just like, it's maddening. Like, it's very, very difficult. Because I'm constantly processing energies through my body and my being. And there is a lot, that I contend with. And sometimes I'm exhausted, or like I miss a plane flight, the things beyond my control. So can you like talk to me directly if you think that, there's something off, instead of announcing to the public, what your opinion is? I just find the immaturity ridiculous. Right. So it's like, if you're really in contact with benevolent ETs, they're really not guiding you to be a person of integrity, so that's a red flag of like the legitimacy of the shit you're even sharing, because if you're really connected to benevolence, or if you're really a Christ conscious being, you'd be like, man, maybe Laura needs a hug, or like she looks like she's having a hard time, or any of us.
It goes back to the
we're
high
in the
school
field on the
mistakes
front
back in high
lines,
school. Yeah,
like this is not celebrity. We're on the front lines. It's not
yeah.
easy. We have our tough moments, can we like have each other's back and hug each other instead? So I'm really repelled by that lack of maturity and those kind of projections. I'm sorry, did I just completely go off on a rant?
No, that's exactly what I wanted to get into, because I think that's vital and crucial in this time and disclosure, that we can't still all come together. Everybody has their bad days, whatever it might be, but like, why rip on other people for the stupidest things? Like I said, it's like going back into high school. Like we've all been through that. We don't need to go back there. We're supposed to be the community that, again, has loving, open acceptance to people that have gone through drama, do need help. They completely were on the other side of it, whatever they might have done in the past, whatever the mind control was that they went through, meaning like all through 2020, 2021, everything else. But so what if they made a bad decision? Now they're coming on our side. It's not us to be like, oh, see, haha, I told you so. It's like, no, okay, yeah, we're glad you're here. Let's work together now.
Exactly. That's so beautiful. Thank you. Yeah. It's like, let's just have a heart and just, I mean, it's really rough. It's really rough. People processing, this level of betrayal or feeling like, oh God, I didn't see that. Or like, oh, now I finally get it. It's like, not this, I told you so, or yeah, you're so stupid. It's like, no, like, oh my gosh. Yeah. Like it's really rough and it's a lot to recover from. And, love you. And just like, let's just heal and move forward and thrive.
I think that's what this year's about. That makes sense to me as far as where things are going. But I guess we're getting kind of close to the end. Do you guys have like final thoughts, or Dan, any last thing you want to say?
Yeah, I mean, I was just like, if you guys want to tell us about Rebel Disclosure or Rebel Collective, your show on Rumble, and like, how did you guys start it up, or how did you guys connect on that? I'm just curious.
Uh, well, I mean, I'll just start just finally meeting. Well, Drago and I have known each other for a really long time, and we meet up at conferences. And the conference I went to in Florida, I was able to go visit him in Tampa, and he touched up some of my tats and gave me a
Nice.
tattoo. And we're just kind of sitting there, and I'm just, he's just sharing just all his knowledge and all these different, people that he's been researching, and a lot about his own journey and the things that he's, coming to terms with about his story. And I'm like, man, Drago, like you need to really be out there. And like, this is so huge. I'm like, God, and we just both like almost in the same moment, just let's do a show together. I mean, Drago, from your point of view, how did it go?
That's exactly how it happened, man. And the funny thing is, 5 years ago, I was shown my future through a QHHT session. And it really freaked me out, because what it showed me was I was in the public and I was really known, and my past started coming out, meaning my involvement with the government and all that stuff I've had to hide my entire life. And I was shown that me and Laura would have a show together. And when I told Laura that, she's like, man, I understand there's a lot of timelines going on, but like, did that actually come true? And I believed it so much that I knew it would come true. And my higher self told me that the most important part of the creation of this show is Laura has to have no idea it's going to be created. It has to come from her.
Oh, nice.
And the moment she said that, I took a breath in, I closed my eyes, I said, holy shit, this is the moment. The moment that starts the freaking future. And it ignited my heart, man.
Wow.
That got me out of the shadows, and I started posting photos of myself. And I was so recluse, man. When I walked away in 2015, I haven't posted a single photo of myself since 2015, maybe 2013. Because like, I left everything I ever known. I left my businesses, my family, all my friends in Texas. And my businesses, they were very successful. So I just got to that point where I was no longer happy. I had all the money and I did everything I thought I wanted to do, but I realized that the money was not the answer, because having money and then you treating it like it's nothing taught me a big lesson. And I took kind of like a vow of poverty when I moved. in 2015, and to be away from the money and to
Wow.
get back into art, to find my heart again, to be in more nature. And like I said, the creation of that show, that was me coming out of my dark cave. And it's been an explosion ever since. And everybody always tells me, man, when me and Laura are together on our shows are freaking mind-blowing. And
Yes.
coincidentally, Laura, our shows get the most views on your channel. I noticed that. I was like, that's freaking interesting that the people are choosing to watch us together because of our information it's crazy combined.
That's awesome. Very cool. That's true manifestation you had there. You just, I mean, to make that come to light, have her come up with the idea. That's awesome. Very cool.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so how long have you guys been doing that? You've been on for the last year or
Almost a year.
Well, we dropped it May 15th of last year.
Okay. Wow. You got
Nice.
everything.
Oh, I know the date. I know because that's the day that changed my life.
Aw. Awesome.
and so that's exclusively on Rumble, right?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
So
Yeah. So yeah, spread it and share it. We really want to build it and get it out to more people. And my website's cosmicguide.org, and pretty much everything I do is there. I have a subscription thing and love our show. Yep. Who's our next guest? John D'Souza?
Yeah, we got John D'Souza tomorrow. We got the
I
original
love-
Fox Mulder.
I love that guy. He's a good guy. You know, I met him in the bathroom. I met him in the bathrooms, just standing there, and I'm just, you know, in the urinal. And, oh, there's John D'Souza, and I was like, this is wild. There's only one other person that happened to, and that's Gary Nolan, which people have a lot to say about him, which is a whole nother story about his stock. But anyway, I think that's going to be awesome. I saw you guys do Jay Widener recently. Blew my mind, and yeah, you guys have so many amazing guests. It's incredible. So I
Oh,
can see more.
thank you guys so much for having us. It's really been wonderful.
and Laura, what's the name of your book and when is it coming out?
It's called Awakening the Truth Frequency, and it's coming out in March.
Okay.
March
And-
1st. Come on,
Yeah.
guys. Pre-order. Already pre-ordered mine. I could have asked Laura, hey man, send me like a pre-copy so I can read this book, but I'm like, nope, I'm gonna buy it now and I'm gonna read it the day that shit comes out, man.
Gosh, I'm a little nervous. It'll be good, I hope. Just a little nervous when my parents read it, or I hope they don't read it, but maybe they'll read it, flip through it.
Oh, it's
That's
gonna
where you just got to relinquish that fear, man, because it's
Oh,
those
yeah.
fears, those things we carry with us our entire life.
Oh, yeah. I
It's
mean,
simple
even if the
telling
fear
your
comes
parents,
up, I just walk right through it. There's no stopping what has to be done.
And so
It's
now
all-
that we have to complete this mission in this life, the more we prolong it, the more we're going to suffer for it. And then you're going to realize one day that the time has now passed. You never completed your mission and your time expired.
Yep.
Don't be that person, man. Be the change you want to see now.
Oh,
I get-
never. I don't know anything else.
Yes, the time is now. Even my wife keeps telling me that too, but sometimes she's like, I don't know if you should talk about certain subjects, but but you should. Yeah, it's all about getting through it together, and this is the time. Yeah.
And that's what the book is really about. It's just, just awaken that. Just like set yourself free. That's you can only enslave yourself by limiting yourself and cowering in a corner or saying, humanity's not ready. They're not ready. Yeah, of course they're ready. Are they ready to like still be lied to and deceived and assaulted and abused? I mean, give humanity a little bit more credit. How about be ready for something that actually is going to wake you up and actually heal you and transform you versus be ready for more bullshit, more psyops, more bioweapons, more mind fuckery, Like, no, humanity's ready for that. No, it's ready for like, how about enough of it already? Done with it. Get back to like yourself, the truth, and coming together in unity consciousness.
Definitely.
Humanity's ready for us to step forward and step into the light and present it in our own authentic way, each of us, in our own unique way that we do it. So, absolutely.
That's it.
And Drago, you just kicked off a new show. What's that called, and where they find that?
Yeah, I just dropped Portal to Another Dimension, and Laura was my first guest, man. So I'm freaking excited to get my own show going and to create my own theme and to like throw the portals in there, man. Like I'm theming my entire show over portals, so I'm trying to make it cool, man.
Nice. And that's on Rumble as well, or YouTube?
Yep.
Or
That's it. Portal to a Mention on Rumble. Both of our shows are on Rumble. Unfortunately, YouTube censorship means you can't have a show and talk about stuff on YouTube. So unfortunately, this is where we have arrived.
Yeah, it's slow to build new platforms. I mean, gosh, losing my channel has changed everything. Just like, whoa.
Yeah, you've had to do that a lot, I know, in the past. And no, we'll definitely support you guys to try to get people to come your way. We'll probably be there with you. Probably not have a choice soon enough, but like you said, the time is now to get this information out. So whatever, screw it. Like we're gonna be loud as loud as we can for now. So
Can't wait to have you on our show too.
oh, that'd be great. Yeah.
oh yeah, thank you. Yeah.
Thank you.
Well, thanks for joining us today, guys. Really appreciate your time and great conversation. Look forward to some more. Yeah.
Yeah, totally. Thank you so much, you guys.
Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah.
Till next time.
All right. Bye.